Alright, hello and welcome back. So, now we are going to make the branch node. So, let's go down into nodes, right click, and create a new script. And we're gonna call that branch node. And I'm gonna copy paste to make sure that it is built correctly. Then we're gonna open that one up. It is so fast and so furious. But before we do that, let's actually go into our dialog container scriptable object and actually make so we can save it. So I'm actually just gonna copy paste the branch thingy over. So, let's just go to branch node. Branch node. All right. So, what is going on right here? Well, first we make a region for the branch node, and remember the end region also will be angry. Then we will add the system.serializable. That is, of course, that we need that in our scriptable object so we can save it in runtime. And we will name it branch node data because it's where we save our data, and that of course inherits from the base node data. So in here we will have a true and a false statement, meaning that it will know which node to connect to, depending if it is true or false. So those two here are actually, they're not for the dialog graph. Therefore, when we are going to try to connect the data in the visual part, let me just go here. So when I click this button here, and it will go into the branch, this button will know which new dialog it is connected to. So that is what we are using them for. So again, they're not used for the dialog graph itself, but they're used for the dialog system to find out which node it is connected to. I hope that makes sense. And then we add another class down here, again serializable. That is called branch string ID. It is in theory the same as the event node here, but just to make sure that they are not connected, meaning if I want to change this one here, I'm not changing the event node. So that's why I decided to make them each object from themselves, or a class for itself. And we are of course going to have a list of that. So it's going to be kind of the same principle as the event node. But now that we have this, we can actually go back into our branch node. We'll of course delete everything inside of it. And we of course need the namespace, and I can't remember that, so I'm just gonna go up here, ipsy dipsy, and go test with log editor. Alright, so this way we can now get the base node. There we go. And I will just quickly look at my notes to see what we will be needing. I'm just gonna copy paste this over here so you can see. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want a private list, a private field of the the data, so the branch scriptable ID, and that is of course right here. So we know what data we are supposed to save. It's still called conditions. Let's just rename that. I forgot to rename it, so don't think about that. I have to rename it over the other ones, or else it will be rather confusing looking at my notes as well. It's because I call it condition branch in the beginning, but it just seems like a hassle to add one extra name on it. So that is why I decided to change it. And next up we of course want, again, if this copy pasting is rather irritating for people, feel free to say it in the comments below. I just think it will be a lot faster, and we are at the point where people can't understand what's going on. That top button, we just gonna leave that. So let's say what is going on here. Well, just like any other node, we want the position, we want the dialog is a window, and the dialog graph. And we are gonna save that into the base version of it. We are going to call it, let's just call it branch. And we're going to set the position and set its default size. And we are going to add a gun. And of course, we need to add that reference. I think it's that system. Yeah, alright. And port, we'll just right click and add port. There we go. So we need an input that can take multiples, and we need two outputs, a true statement and a false statement. Goody. And then we will have the top button to add more conditions. Let's just copy that one in. And we of course need to have that in here as well. Here we are going to make a toolbar menu. So we're going to right click and add the reference. And we're also going to go down here and right click, add the reference. And this is a script. So let us just quickly, I don't know, should I? Well, let's just quickly do this for now. Well, I'm just gonna, never mind. Alright, so we can add a condition, and we will have a string condition that we can add. And of course, the string condition we will add here is the thing we will add here in a second. And we will add that to the top. I don't know, should I copy paste all of it? No, let's just copy paste the delete one in. You probably already know this from the event one. It's simply a delete box that takes in the box and delete the box when we click it. That's rather simple. Alright, so let's just save this for now. Alright. So we'll actually be copy pasting in chunks of the code. I think people are good enough now so they can understand that. So first we will add the branch string condition. Oh, and I can see we have a small dilemma here. Let me just quickly fix that. We have the parameter condition. Wait, is it name condition string? I can't remember. What is it named? We named it branch string. That's really good at me that I can't even remember the simplest thing, right? I think it's like this. Parameter branch string, yes. I'm really good at this. Don't think about it. Okay, okay. Oh. I am fucking... Alright, sorry about that. I confused myself a little. So where were we? Well, we're going to make the box now. So, again, sorry about that. I decided to rename everything in the middle, and that's just dumb. So, I'm just gonna copy paste the next thing over. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is we are making a new branch string ID, just like in the event node. And we are asking, well, if this is not null, meaning if there's actually any data in it, well, we want to copy paste that data over. And next up, we want, of course, to make the dialog box. I actually call it dialog event here, I can see. Let's actually change that up and make it into a branch box. Because we like brands, right? That's just stupid, but hey. Alright, and next thing we of course want is the text box. And we're of course going to rename that as well to branch box. Next up we have the number. Don't worry, I will go through this entire thing again in a second. And we just want the branch number in. And let's just go quickly through it just to remember what we are doing here. Alright, so first up we make a box, and that is the one we want to contain all the stuff in it. Then we add our style to it, the class style. Then we make a text field. We add a style to it. We put it inside the box. Then we make sure that whenever we change the value out in the graph view, that it will then change to the new value inside um, the branch script that we are saving the string. There. All right, and of course change the value. And the same thing with the integer field. We make an integer field at the style sheet. We add it to the box, so it's now inside the box container. We make sure that whenever we change it, it also changes the value, and it of course sets the value without notification. Goody. And lastly, we of course want the remove button. Plug that in. So we make the button, we make it just be a big X. Whenever we click on it, we use a lumbar expression here to tell it to run this specific part code, where we will simply delete the button and remove the branch string ID from the list. Now I can see we need to put a branch. Let's actually make that a big B and save. And we of course need the last part, which is that the main container box as well. So we're gonna save that. And as you can see now, we have this beautiful box thingy. But we actually haven't added any of the style sheet yet. But before we do that, let's do that. So let's go back in here. Wait it for it to load. Let's open up our style sheet. I think it was like this. In here, you need to do it like that. We're just gonna go event and make 3 of those. Make 3 of those. And let's just plug that in here. You know what? Let's plug it over here for convenience sake and go branch. And we're just gonna be lazy and copy paste this. So branch box. Actually, I think we can just do this. This one we don't have. And here we go. Save that up. I can see we already actually think in the event we forgot to do that. So let's actually just fix that. Go back in, find the event node. Roll down here. No? Oh, event node is over here now. Alright. No, we did not, so it was me who forgot it. Alrighty. Alright, so now that we have the style, we need to make sure that we can actually add this to our system. So, how would we do that? Well, that is of course the dialog search thingy. And I need to find my notes over here. Alright, so let's go into our node search window. Actually, I think we need to make sure that we can actually create it first. Let me just have a quick look, see. So that one creates, yeah. Go into dialog graph view. And roll all the way down here. And we need to make a create function here. Let's just make a create. And because I cannot spell branch, I'm just gonna copy paste it. So we're gonna go create branch. And we could just go branch, branch. There we go. So now we have that we can create branch node. Now we can actually go into our search function and actually make it so we can add it. So I'm just gonna do this. And go branch node. Branch. Actually, let's remove the node part here. There's no real reason to do that when we're already showing that it is a dialog node. Meaning we're already telling them it that all those here are nodes anyway. So I tell it again it is nodes. Alright, so now when we do that, we also need to go down here and return here and go branch node. And we of course wanted to return a branch node, so branch node. So when the node is a branch node, we want of course it to create a branch node. So I think that should be it for creating it. Let's have a look see. Alright. So let's see if we can create the node. Branch. There we go. And we can add string conditions. And we can remove them. Beautiful. Alright, so now we need to we can actually save those as well. Let's just, can it connect and everything? It can, beautiful. Yes, this is peak performance right here. And alright, so let's do so we can actually save it as well. Into our scripts again. Then we need to go into save and load. I actually wondered the way I set it up. I think it should already, no. I remember I was something that went horrible wrong. Yep. We need to go into dialog container OS all the way in the top because we are actually saving all the different nodes here, as you can see. So we need to, of course, save that specific node. Let me just open up my notes over here so I'm sure I'm doing it right. Yes. Alright, so we just want to rename this right here to branch node data and branch node data, branch node datas, and plug that one in here, and plug that one in there. There we go. So now we can actually save it in our system. Not save. We now have a place to save it. that would be the right word for it. So now we actually need to go and find out where we are saving the nodes. So we are saving nodes here. So let's go to save nodes. So we need first to actually clear it. So we're gonna go branch node.clear. And then we also need to tell it that we save it. So pluck and go branch node. Just gonna paste it again. Branch node. Why is that? Oh yeah. Branch node. I guess I named the same. Alright. I'm trying to. No? Is it because we haven't made a save function for the branch node? I'm an idiot. Alright, so let me just quickly look at my notes how I actually did that, just to make sure that it is done. We are doing it correctly. Alrighty. You know what? I'm just gonna copy paste it over because I am lazy. Oh, that looks horrible. Regret? Is that because that's the load function? Oh, it is. You know what? It's actually a little more complicated, the one there. Let's just regret and actually just type it in. So, we of course wanted to return a branch node. So we're gonna go branch node data and click save node data. And it's going to accept a branch node. So branch node, and we're just gonna call it node. Alrighty. So in here, I'm going to make a little different on how we actually get our hands on the different connections. Just so actually, I just wanted to show you that this is a way that you can do it. So the way I'm doing it right now is not the optimal way of doing it, but I just want to show you it is a way that you can do it. So, where, oh, and forgot, I need to call this TMP. Just, all right, so the edges here, of course, is the one we get from the top here, where we get all the edges in the list, meaning all the different connections between the nodes. And we just want the edges that is connected to our specific node. So we're just gonna tell it edges dot where x is equal x dot output. So we're gonna go into the output and do and simply say node is equal node. And of course we need to cast it because it is a visual element back to an edge, and we of course want it to be returned as a list. So what exactly did we do here? Well, we went through all the edges and ask it where all the places it is connected, the output connection. We want to check what node it is connected to, and afterwards we tell it, well, if it is the node we are looking at right now, well, we want that edge to be saved into a list. And right now we have that list. We then, of course, want a edge for the true output, and that will be then. Wait, do we actually need this one up here now? Oh yeah, I found a way that probably a little better to do it. But well, now you know how to get all the edges that is connected to that node. So I just gonna let this be there. We actually can do it even better. We actually find the specific node that is connected specific to this one. So we're gonna go edges dot first or default. Remember, why you say first or default? Well, that means just if it is default, it will just return a null. If it is first, well, if it doesn't find anything, it will give an error. So we want it to be able to give us, a null. So we are again going to ask the output dot output dot node, if that is equals the node we are on right now, and if that node's if that output dot port name is equals to false. Oh, well, we had true at the moment, so we're gonna go true. So we are trying to find the edge that is connected to our node and the node that is named true. So we're of course going to just copy paste this and go false and go false. So now we have the true node, the false node and the true node. We will then, we'll then make some branch data node, and we're just gonna call that node data equals new, and we are going to put in all the data. No, I'm just gonna copy paste the lazy parts of it because that's not really that important. So we add the node's gun, the goods possession, all those, all the branch ID stuff, and not, they're not really that important stuff. And this is where it starts to get a little more interesting. Well, because we have that true. Actually, let's do that because we do true first. And here we need to make a rather beautiful looking thing, because we need to check if this one is not null, because we don't want to try and save a string into something that is null. So we first will check if it is null, then we will use, I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a fancy if statement. So we will ask it if it is null. If it is not null, well, then we of course want the input dot node, and we will ask it as base node, and we will go node gun. Oh, dot. Oh yeah, I forgot. We need to go rip for this to work, and go node. And if we do not, and if it doesn't find anything, we'll just go empty. So what exactly did we do here? Well, we're going to save the node gun that it is connected to. So first we will check, is it actually connected to anything? If it is connected to anything, well, then we want to find its input node, and right now it's finding the base node, so just the node, and base node inherits from node. So all our nodes in our system that we have made are base nodes, meaning that we can then cast it as a base node, and all the base node contains a node gun. We then use that node gun to save it into which the true gun node is connected to. I hope that makes sense. And on the line under, we're going to do the exact same thing, just for the false one. So plop, plop, and you're done. This means that this will now save it into the safe, not the safe. It will now. Let's just fast return the node data. All right, so now we know. This way we will actually know which node they're connected to, meaning when we go into a dialog and it will trigger conditions, we can easily find the next node in the dialog node stuff. I hope I explained that correctly. No, let me just go out here and visualize that quickly. Alright, so beforehand, let's just go with start node and event node, and then we go into a branch node here. Let's just make an int and an int node here, just so you know. Alright, so at the moment, normally we only have one output. So it just know, oh, I can look at the connection. So we'll just find the connection and look at the connection and say, hey, connection, where are you connected? And that connection will say, well, I'm connected to this node here. And we will go, oh, all right. And then we will say, hey, output, where you're connected. And the output will then look at the line and say, hey, where you're connected, I'm connected up here. Well, the problem goes into here where we say, well, hey, true and false, where you're connected. Well, we pretty much just saved both of them, so we don't know which one is true and which one is false. We just have two connections. And the connections don't know if they are, the false or the true. Because we don't really want that data to be saved into the connections. So they're just gonna go, well, I don't know which connection to take here. So instead we are just going to save the data inside the branch node. So it can go, oh, true, which node are you connected to? So it just, instead of using the line to find out when it's connected, it's just gonna say, hey, I'm connected to this node. So we're not using the line more to find out where it's connected. It's just know it's connected to this node. Of course, we could also add that possibility into the other things, but for now, the other system works. So let's just leave it there for now. I know later on I might rework it for the other one as well, because it may seem like a better idea. Alright, so I hope that gave a little more to it. But now we've made the save function, we of course need to actually do so to actually use the save function. I think that should do it though. Oh, need to make sure that we keep our naming conventions. So that should save it correctly. Goody, goody, goody. Then we need to do so we can actually load it as well. We don't have a load function yet. So I'm going down to wherever we have our load function. And that is right here. Yeah. We're just gonna plug it in here. So we're gonna go branch node, and we're gonna go for each dialog container dot dot branch nodes, and we of course gonna go branch node data, and in here we are going to say branch I'm really not good at spelling, am I? Branch node temp node equals review dot create branch node, where we give it the node's position. Oh, node dot. Oh yeah, I didn't name it node. Node dot node position, so it knows where to create it, and then we're gonna go to node dot node gun equals node dot node gun, and then we're gonna go for each. Oh, let's see, what does it say here? Alright, so for each node dot, and that is the branch ID, and that is of course just branch string ID. We're just gonna keep it with item, and go dot add condition, and we're going to add the item, and go temp node dot load value into field, and I guess we should do reload language as well. Now in theory we don't need to, but let's just do it because reasons. Dot add element, and in element we're gonna add temp node and save. So now we should be able to load it as well. Let's go back and see if we have forgotten anything. Alright, so I'm just gonna make a small thingamajig down here. Go branch node, pliggity ploggity, add and then add a int node here. Plip and plop. And save and load. Yeah, it works. Alright, so let's just make sure. And if I do this and click save and click load, no errors. If I do this and save load, I remove it. Oh, yeah, let's just make sure. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. And load. Yes. And dot, 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 and dot, 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 dot. Save. Load. Yes, it's saving. So now we have a branch condition. Hooray! Of course, we haven't made so it actually works right now. So if you try to put this node into the game at the moment, it will probably break. But we will fix that at the very end when we have added the new dialog node that we should begin in the next episode with. So that is pretty much it for now. Oh, I think I actually see a mistake here. Yeah, we need to find out what is happening there. So let's go into our branch node. I think it's called branch ID. Yes, and let's go into our... Where's the style sheet? Did I close it? I probably did. Style sheet. And let's see, branch, yes, there we go. Branch ID, go back. And that is now as it should be, wonderful. Here, right now there's an interesting thing that if you get to a specific number, it will start, being rather weird. But that's because we have hit the maximum int number. So, that is something to take into accounting, I guess. That you can't go with that number. However, we could go in and change it to a long or float or something else. But for now, you're not supposed to go with that number for now. Just know that if you want a bigger numbers, you should probably change it to a long or to a float or a double, I think it's called. But that's it for the branch. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.